The entire workflow is scheduled as 85 takt time beats, and the challenge is keeping every station synchronized without sacrificing precision.
Only the exterior silhouette is iconic. Internally, the engineering constraint is repackaging the volume into
QC locks the surface spec, gap width, flatness, roughness, and reflection continuity, then verifies it with 3D scanning and heat maps.
Batch mixing must be composition consistent. Slight variation can change polishing response and produce uneven reflection bands later.
Plate forming demands stable thickness and flatness. The hard part is controlling distortion, while the sheet is still heat affected.
CNC contour cutting must hold clean edges and repeatability. Chip extraction matters because recut debris can scar surfaces.
Rib stamping requires identical press force and alignment each cycle. Any drift ruins the uniform pattern under raking LED. Servo bending must hit angled targets without springback. Rounded edges are added for civilian-safe handling.
Long seam welding is difficult because heat input can warp geometry. Immediate flatten grinding is required for paint readiness.
Surface refinement must remove seam evidence without creating low spots. The goal is a uniform satin base before coating.
Laser flatness scanning finds micron-level highs and lows. Microjacks correct until the heat map converges to uniform green.
Buffer routing is a logistics precision problem. Wrong lane or spacing breaks downstream block assembly takt time.
Centerline accuracy governs everything. If the frame starts off-axis, no later seam can look like a single straight line. Fasteners are torqued in a star pattern to distribute load. Consistent torque curves and perfectly aligned torque stickers confirm control.
Modular bulkheads must seat flush with no sharp edges, and the difficulty is repeatable latch closure without micro gaps.
Spot weld matrices require spacing consistency. Every point is then flattened so weld texture does not telegraph through paint.
Anti-corrosion coverage must reach hidden corners. UV inspection is used to prove there are no thin or missing areas. Lower hull skin installation is judged by gap uniformity. Even slight gap drift breaks the straight seam aesthetic.
Sensor torque tightening must land on PASS without overstressing edges, and the hardest part is maintaining sequence discipline at speed.
Mist-based watertight testing verifies seam integrity. A single sensor flip breaks the acceptance chain. Block joining is a coaxial alignment problem. Tiny offsets create visible seam discontinuity and geometry stack-up errors.
Full-body metrology locks geometry. 3D scan, analyze, then micro-adjust by micrometers until the heat map is uniformly green.
Deck installation requires straight fastener rows and uniform anti-slip texture. Continuous flow makes alignment control difficult. Angled superstructure panels must close flush. Plane accuracy is critical, so interior coordination rooms and classrooms fit without rework.
Bracket machining must hold tight tolerances. Any deviation transmits vibration into research equipment mounts.
Sensor mast installation is laser plumbed. The difficulty is sealed cable routing and perfectly flush conduit covers.
Clean power wiring demands consistent crimp quality and disciplined harness dressing to prevent noise, heat, and maintenance errors.
Fiber backbone routing must respect minimum bend radius. Metronomic clip spacing and aligned labels reduce fault risk.
HVAC ducting must be airtight and quiet. Even strap tension prevents rattles and airflow leakage.
Freshwater and recycling lines are validated by leak-tight quick couplers and stable flow through transparent test sections. D-Lab modules require vibration isolation and safe radiused corners. Perfect cabinet alignment keeps doors quiet and repeatable. Medical rescue modules must be easy clean with zero dirt trap gaps. Consistent sealant finishing is a deceptively hard craft step.
Emergency stairs demand straightness, rigidity, and centered photoluminescent guidance. Misalignment compromises low-light wayfinding. Quiet drive installation is precision isolation engineering. Correct seating prevents vibration amplification and preserves low-noise operation. Shaft line assembly uses laser coaxial alignment. Bearing press fit and micro-oil dosing determine wear, heat, and long-term smoothness.
Vibration balancing is fine-tuning by microns. Ultra-thin shims are added until the curve drops smoothly into tolerance.
Propulsor installation uses star pattern torque to prevent distortion. The final cap must seat flush to avoid imbalance and noise.
Stabilizer sealing must be continuous. Gasket compression and uniform sealant bead prevent leaks and vibration-driven loosening. Anchor winch spooling must build perfectly layered wraps. Load sensing validates the safe for rescue operating envelope. Rescue crane commissioning verifies limit switches and synchronized locking. Pins must drop cleanly to prove alignment.
Lifeboat rail integration is a low-friction requirement. Smooth travel, positive quick lock closure, and repeatable release.
Guardrails must be dimensionally consistent. Jig-controlled spacing and polished joints prevent snag points and noise.
Full body primer application is about thickness uniformity and run-free corners. Overspray control is the hard part at scale.
Color mixing requires accurate dosing and ultra-fine filtration. A single contaminant can destroy mirror finish results.
Large area coating is unforgiving. Overlap errors appear as banding under LED inspection, so layer stacking must be perfectly controlled.
Zoned curing stabilizes film formation. Acceptance requires sensor-stable profiles before the batch log is locked green.
Protective clear coat targets depth and simulated salt resistance. The difficulty is achieving glass-like reflection without waviness.
Multi-step polishing is pressure and compound control. Uneven technique causes holograms, so each tile must match exactly.
Decal application is alignment critical. Straight edges, zero bubbles, and fully bonded corners under raking light inspection. Observation window installation requires controlled set-down angle. Gasket compression and continuous adhesive bead ensure sealing.
Watertight door fitment is verified by gap measurement and consistent closing force. Uneven gasket compression is a fail condition.
Lighting validation checks uniform output and flicker-free dimming from 0 to 100%. Wiring and driver stability are the hardest variables.
Modular interiors must be rigid yet quiet. Anti-vibration mounts, controlled gaps, and latch preload prevent rattles during long training hours. Galley modules prioritize vibration isolation and leak-proof quick couplers. Flow tests convert stability before final closeout. Sleeping quarters are noise engineered. Acoustic sheets must be bubble-free and edge-sealed because even tiny clacks degrade rest at sea.
IT racks demand clean insertion forces and disciplined cable dressing. Parallel routing reduces errors and improves serviceability.
Data load testing must show stable throughput and low latency. Only then is the system labeled OK and released.
Engine room acoustic lining requires continuous glue bead and flush panel seating. The target is one seamless plane with no vibration buzz paths. Safety signage must be bubble-free and position correct. Small decal errors become major issues in emergency navigation.
Acoustic qualification is strict. Calibrated microphones capture every minor vibration, so the cabin must stay consistently low noise across modes.
Whole structure vibration testing sweeps frequencies. Shims and pads are tuned until the system settles into smooth mode.
Full body washing is also defect exposure. Runoff patterns reveal residue and surface inconsistencies that polishing may have missed.
Drying protects the mirror finish. The last micro droplet must clear from seams and corners to prevent watermarks. Standard light inspection scans reflection integrity. A uniform green heat map is required before paint and polish logs are sealed.
Final leak verification proves every access panel and door remains sealed. Only then is the leak-free status applied.
Torque audits are strict random checks. A single out-of-family curve can trigger rework on an entire assembly group.
Simulated launch prep is high risk for cosmetic damage. Contact pads and vibration control protect the finished surface from scratches.
Trim and balance control must move smoothly without oscillation. Stability indicators remain green before rail entry is authorized.
Rail descent demands perfect centering. Any lateral bump can chip paint, wrinkle decals, or imprint a contact mark. First water contact must be gentle to avoid shock loading. Buoy sensors confirm stable float immediately after touchdown.
Shore power bring-up follows a strict sequence. Row by row green status lights confirm clean startup without instability.
Low-speed maneuvering checks wake symmetry and vibration levels.